All right. Okay, we ready? Mike, Mary? Ready? Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jessica, statement of publication?
Take notice that this regular agenda meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 18th day of August, 2025 has been posted and advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Balca, Khaleesi,
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Sinarski.
Here.
Zabrowski.
Okay. Council President, approval of prior minutes?
Move the following minutes of the mayor and council be approved on roll call vote, subject to correction if necessary. Second.
You gonna, roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Balca. Oh, sorry, he's not here. Not used to that. Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Okay. We'll go. All right, we're gonna go right into,
I gotta read
close.
the reso first.
Yeah.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. Whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 5 to 10 minutes to discuss the following matters: attorney-client privilege, litigation, bus depot. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before it at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
And also, due to a potential conflict of interest with this matter, I'm going to recuse myself and not participate in this executive session.
I move that we go to close.
That's a
Is
problem.
there a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
So will he abstain on the,
We're not taking action.
no, but he can still vote on the closed session reso.
He can still vote on
Yes.
going into closed session.
Yes.
He's not going to attend.
Yep. Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak.
Yes, I just got one question. This is informative. No votes are needed in here though, right?
No,
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't like 3 people.
Sinarski.
Yes.
No, just want to make sure.
Okay.
Need a motion to reconvene?
I make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Go ahead, Jess.
Public hearing on the following ordinance. Ordinance number 18-25, Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex. Ordinance amending the borough's general design standards with regard to parking areas in front yards and residential districts.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up for questions or comments on this. There is a 5-minute rule in effect. So if you come up, please have your questions or comments for 5 minutes. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor Jim Robinson, Marlin. I want to thank the council. I would like to have been able to specifically thank Councilman Dabrowski for his efforts in this regard. We know this situation arose not too long ago. He acted quickly. He zoomed it through. He did, and I think the solution is a good one. He did, despite the fact that some of the folks in the construction office thought the concern about this was quote nonsense, because of what I read in one of the emails, that the current emails. I don't think it's nonsense. I think it's a real concern. I appreciate that Councilman Dabrowski is doing this so quickly. And speaking of zoomed, it is unfortunate that there are 2 council people missing tonight. I assume they're on vacation or something, to which they are well entitled. It is a shame that we don't have Zoom, so that two-way Zoom, so that people could participate, so that the councilman, I think John has 2 ordinances up tonight. Councilman Balka has another ordinance up tonight, so that they could be present for this, vote on their own ordinance, speak on their own ordinance, and enjoy the thanks on this. And I would note, just before this, you went into executive session. Mike had to recuse himself, and you have 2 people away, so you had 3 council people in there in executive session. No reason the council couldn't have participated on Zoom in executive session. They did that in the past. And we would have had the benefit. Actually, you know, John Dabrowski and Dan Balco were both former school board members. So they would lend some insight that the council does not have. So, you know, it would have been great. This is a great example of how it would be good if not only the citizens, but council people who might happen to be away or down the shore or on vacation or in the mountains or in the hospital or tied up could participate on Zoom. That's all. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that this is being passed tonight.
Anyone else?
My name's Kelly Last. I'm at 19 Yonge Street.
I can't hear.
Ulner Street.
I'm sorry.
Can't hear you, dear.
My name's Kelly Last. I'm at 19 Yonge Street.
Is
I know-
this on this ordinance, miss?
Are you talking about the driveway parking or parking out in the street? Because I've gotten tickets in the past because of the bar at the corner. You have to cross the line. I've gotten tickets about that.
No, this is, this,
And people not parking in their driveway, having many parties, that when we have flash flooding, if you let me explain, we have to put boards up and cinder blocks because the road is not paved correctly. So we can't park in our own driveways. We have to park 5 or 6 houses away. This goes all the way up
But
to
not the
10
proper
Yulner
time.
Street, which 2
Miss,
cars were just ruined.
Where's your house?
19 Yulner Street.
Huh? Ulner Street.
It's the Melrose section.
Okay. It's not a, we'll go over your issue in detail, but the protocol is we're just dealing with this one zoning ordinance. You know, on Washington
About
Road,
parking in the driveway?
no, you know, on Washington Road, up by the restaurant, up by the old brick house,
Yeah.
across the street. It had to do, those are very small frontage, and it has to do, you can't pave your whole front yard, basically, is
Oh,
what.
yeah, no, absolutely.
That's
I
what,
gotcha. All
but
right, then.
when we get to the open public portion, I'll motion to you to come up.
Motion everything.
All right.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else for ordinance 18-25?
I'd like to say something, Mayor, on 1825.
Please.
On 1825, I want to thank Dan Kilcummins. Dan Kilcummins is the first one that brought it to my attention, and then the work of the council and right up the chain of command, and also with the zoning and code enforcement, we got this amendment changed. So again, I want to thank Dan Kilcummins for bringing it to my attention and in communication with him on this. Thank you again.
Actually, we'd like to put a name on this ordinance to Dan Kilcummins. He called me on the weekend to go over this with him, and we had very long conversations. So, Dan, job well done. We thank you. And with that, I'll take a motion. Who is second on?
That's me.
Mike?
Okay, I move the public hearing to be closed. The ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 19-25, Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, ordinance establishing residency requirements for all appointments to borough boards, commissions, and committees.
This time I'll open the public portion for questions or comments. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to take a second to say you're absolutely right about Dan Kilcummins. He and I haven't talked in 20 years, but in the last 2 months, we talked every day. So he did his homework. He did a great job on this. But on this particular ordinance, and I know why this ordinance was being introduced, but there might be some unintended consequences. And in particular, I'm wondering if this means that non-residents on the Municipal Alliance and Safe Board will have to vacate their seats. And more importantly, on the Local Emergency Planning Committee, which is made up by ordinance, is made up by folks from DuPont, from Ashland, by Alzo, by the Steel Mill, by JCP&L, by PSE&G, Reliant, Red Oak, and all of these. CME, I think the Sewerage Authority has a seat here by ordinance. So is it the intention of the sponsor, Council President Roberts, to take those people who all have pretty important roles in the community and unseat them from the Local Emergency Planning Committee? Is that the intention?
Jim, all questions come through me. That being said, I will repeat the words of my former colleague and councilman, Jeff Pulowski, which is government is a living document. So there are always going to be amendments to ordinances like this. There was a time when, for political reasons, there were out-of-town people being appointed to our local boards and commissions. You will always find exceptions, or for the most part, most of the time, you'll find exceptions. And as we go along, we adjust the ordinance. But this is basically, well, what started it really, there were two brothers.
Let me just ask, is this my time?
It is your time.
Well, I would
Jim,
appreciate it if you would
Jim,
wait then.
As I
because
have to
this is
listen,
my
as
time,
I
Mayor.
have to listen to you, you have to listen to me.
But not on my time.
On your time.
No, not on my
That
time, Mayor.
being-
I'm claiming
Jim,
my 5 minutes.
Please sit down. This isn't
No.
Congress. You don't
Mayor,
claim minutes.
This is an
Jim,
an
your
ordinance,
your
and you
time
have
is
been chided
up.
by the courts for the way you conduct
Your-
public hearings.
Your time is
And
up,
I want to
Jim.
say this, I'm glad you
Please sit.
quoted former Councilman Pulowski. I told him that the master plan was a living document when we served on the planning board together. Yeah, but I am just wondering, will those, despite
We up there yet?
your great story, will those people have to vacate those very important positions on that important board? And does this
All
apply
under-
only to volunteers?
Under review,
Or
Jim.
to the chief of
Jim,
staff or to the
you're done.
recreation
You're
person
done.
that you're?
Please turn his mic
It's
off.
2
No,
minutes.
don't answer him.
Mayor,
Can we just let him
Jim,
finish?
it
and I
is
can
Will
not
you
answer
your
all
hear
my-
me please
Jim,
instruct the
it
mayor
is-
that if I have 5 minutes, I have 5 minutes?
That's it. Jim, take it to court. You know, you're We'll
I'm
play him
asking a
all your
simple
tapes.
question.
Jim,
Will
it's,
these people
it's all here
who
to be
represent these industries in the
adjusted.
town and the MCUA
Jim,
be thrown off the emergency planning
Jim,
committee?
you have a
because
whole
a
new,
councilperson came up
a
with this
whole new
idea because
topic
she
to
was
write
she was
about
asked
when
to
you're sitting in
relieve
front of
herself
your
from the,
computer at home
Human
on
Resources
your
Committee.
Facebook posts, both real and imaginary
Mayor,
people.
5 minutes is 5 minutes. It's the
Jim,
public portion.
Jim, how much is
It's
left
a
there?
public hearing on an ordinance.
You have a minute left, Jim, so make it good.
All right. Would you please answer that question?
Now, the questions come to me.
I'm asking you. Would
I
you
said
answer
I
that?
said they will be adjusted as the need requires it.
So in the meantime, before they're adjusted, will these people have to vacate their position on the local emergency planning?
I don't see any
committee?
reason why, Jim.
Pardon me?
You're the only one that's predicting doom and gloom, which is what you're good
We
at.
have a committee,
Good.
Mayor.
Jim,
a
I
borough
appoint all
committee
these
by
people.
ordinance.
I'm well aware of it.
Then why are we taking these people who represent the major companies and the MCUA, PSE&G, and JCP&L off of that committee?
We're not. This is for the appointment. They have been appointed.
If they're, what does the ordinance say? Would you
Well,
please explain the ordinance to the mayor?
Well,
Please explain the ordinance to the mayor because he hasn't read it. Will those seats be vacated?
don't answer. Don't answer. Thank
Yes,
you,
they
Jim.
will.
As always, enlightening.
Always a pleasure, Mayor.
Enlightening.
Read the ordinance and you know.
Enlightening, young fella. Enlightening. All right.
It does say that those positions will be vacated.
Okay, all right.
Vacate immediately, Mayor.
Can we
Well,
let the entire public speak? Can we let the public speak on this issue and then we'll address
are there
when everyone
is there anyone
completed?
else who would like to speak on this? Okay, so that being said, you never get it all. And that's why you make amendments. So let's, Counselor, make amendments to cover the emergency and these perfunctory boards.
Mayor,
already
it's
been
already
addressed.
taken care
The
of.
first sentence of the new ordinance says unless otherwise specifically allowed by borough ordinance or New Jersey statute, meaning that if we.
It's
say
got-
the
Mr.
borough or the
Robinson didn't read the ordinance.
specifically
Okay.
Allows for those people to be,
Okay,
including,
Okay.
statutory for
Good.
planning board members
Good.
as well, where it allows a municipal
Good.
official. So that exempts those right from the start.
good.
And thank you for that because it was considered for this ordinance. It is important that the people that take positions on boards and committees in Sayreville represent Sayreville. We don't want people from Newark making decisions for us. We don't want people from California making decisions for us. We do not want people from Canada making decisions for us. They're welcome to participate as volunteers, but not as voting members of our boards and bodies. And that's the intent of this ordinance. So I feel it is a well-written, good ordinance. And with your permission, Mayor, I would like to
Go ahead.
make a motion to adopt the ordinance. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Is there a second?
Second,
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Talisi,
yes.
Novak.
I just have a question. I know on the Recreation Committee, it actually specifically says in there, well, if you used to live in town and you just moved to another town that's close by, since it's in that one, well, that one will not change.
If it's in there, but I think that even that one should change because they are welcome to volunteer as much as they want, but they should not have a voting seat.
Okay, so you're going to have to change that one too, because right now
It's
this,
already,
this won't change that.
it will not, and we will address each individual instance that we find from this point forward.
Yes.
Stanarski.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance 20-25, Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, ordinance reducing the speed limit on a portion of Main Street.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there questions or comments? There being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman Kalasi.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on the second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Talisi,
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Stanarski.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 21-25, Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, ordinance amending the borough's submission and checklist requirements for land use and zoning permit applications.
This time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there questions or comments? There being none, I'll entertain a motion. Council President Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I am very proud to put this one up tonight. It is, and I make a motion to adopt the ordinance. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law. And I like to affectionately call this the Mr. Duffy rule, since he is the one who brought it to my attention.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes,
Sinarski.
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-25, Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, an ordinance accepting the donation of Crab Island from Genon Rima LLC.
At this time, we have representatives from Crab Island. If you could come up, please. If you could state your name and.
Thank you. My name is Steve Williams. I am with Environmental Resources Management, and we've been supporting GenOn for the past 5 years, doing due
I need you
diligence.
to pull that,
Closer.
there we go.
Supporting GenOn, doing due diligence for all of their assets across the country. We looked at the Sayreville, the former Sayreville power plant, and the surrounding land. So they have sold the power plant and the peaker plants, et cetera. The only thing that remains is Crab Island. We looked at Crab Island as far as potential risks and uncertainties there. We talked to the Army Corps of Engineer, who did a survey of the facility and determined that there is a very low risk of any ordinance or any legacy issues from the Raritan arsenal that used to be across the river. So they, in their feasibility study, they looked at potential alternatives and determined that given the condition of the island being a mudflat where there's really no access to it, you sink into your waist to chest level deep, that the best use or best way to mitigate would be for land use controls, meaning you put signs up saying no access, it's an unstable island, or no access because of the mud. And that would be the safest and most acceptable mitigation for the facility. So we recommended to GenOn that this would be a good island, a good property for donation because it's used as a bird sanctuary and can be kayaked around and looked at, but there's really no access to it. So we support the Army Corps of Engineers determination that it's a safe island and there's really no risk for future use.
Any questions from the governing body?
I don't have it really of him. I have it of the governing body. What,
Mary, I don't think you're.
now it's on. Why is this beneficial to the town? It'll be taking a piece of property that's currently on the tax rolls. And there is a possibility that this property is contaminated. And to take that responsibility on us at some point in the future, if some flood or something and contamination comes off of that property, if we're the owner, we're going to be responsible. And second, and the fact that John Zabrowski, just at the last meeting, told me that he really was not in favor of this. He asked me for my opinion on it. I was not in favor of it, and he's not here to vote on it. So I would really make a motion to table this until Mr. Zabrowski is here.
Any objection to tabling this till we have a full quorum? Okay. Mary, do you want to make a motion to table?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to table.
Go ahead. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes, but I do want to take the opportunity. Can we, even if we're tabling it, do we have the opportunity to speak to the representative? Because you may not be here when we discuss it again.
No. Will you make yourself available when we have a council discussion on it, whether in person or by conference call?
Yes.
Okay,
But if there's any questions now, I'd be happy to answer them.
sure.
Well,
I appear to have 5 minutes left still.
Excellent. So you had heard some
Yeah,
of
but
the,
Mayor, Donna, we're in the middle of the roll call.
oh, okay.
Let's finish
So-
the roll call.
I will have
Yeah, no,
questions.
I got it, I got it.
and
Yes or nay to vote means.
I will table as long as you are going to be available for the questions in the future and maybe even later today.
Okay, sure.
All right,
Mark,
thank
say-
you.
I'm voting for tabling it, but I got a comment on it when we
Okay.
get a chance also.
Okay,
And
go
Mayor,
ahead.
Just before we go, if I may, just for the public and for public record keeping, because we're in the middle of a public hearing, we need to table it to a date certain, unless we have to notice for the public hearing. So when is the next, Jessica, when's the next meeting?
The 8th.
All right, so just for
September 8th.
agenda purposes, this will be tabled to the September 8th. So if anyone in the public was curious or wanted to continue on attending this public hearing on this ordinance, that's when it would continue. Sorry. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Go ahead, Donna.
So there were some questions about the taxes being paid and any environmental issues. Right now, you know of no environmental issues, I believe is what you stated. But with gifting that would just be a free and clear deed signature sign over. It would not be something that for a few years, which would be within reason, that if anything were to happen, that you would be available to address it. Is that something you might consider? You don't have to consider
Yeah,
that now,
I
but,
think that the general would take that under advisement, yeah.
okay. And possibly waiting to a future date so that we can make sure that we have the tax revenue on our books. So that might be not till next year. We're at the September meeting. So that might be something we could possibly negotiate to move forward so that you can get it off your books.
I think Jenon would entertain discussion on that, yeah.
Okay. Those are my questions for today, but I think I might have more, and thank you for entertaining those.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stash?
Thank you. I am for getting the island. That's one of 4 or 5 islands that are located in that area. I hunted, fished, crabbed, lived on that island my whole life. I'm 3rd generation Sayreville. I never heard my grandfather or anybody saying that there is any contamination there. We know the arsenal's across the river, and I think this is a great idea because of the kayaking, which we're going to start on Weber Avenue someday. We're going to have a big park over there, and we're planning on putting kayaks there, and the river is right next to that. So I'm personally for it myself, and I don't see any contamination there. It was all flooded over when Sandy was here. All of those islands were under 10 feet of water, all the way to the Edison Bridge, you know. So I don't know what kind of contamination could be there at all, if anything.
It's one of those, you're trying to prove a negative, right? There's no known or ever, there's never been any evidence of any contamination on the site. The power plant didn't use it. But because of the proximity to the former arsenal, there was the Army Corps attempted to do an investigation, but given the condition of the site, they were able to get on the island one time when it was frozen during the winter. But because it was frozen, they couldn't really do an investigation. They came back in the spring to try it again, and they sank up to their chest. So they determined that there's no ability to actually do an investigation on the facility. Therefore, they looked at other alternatives and determined that the best use would be to leave it as an island for natural habitat and just put land use controls up, signage that said, you know, it's uninhabitable. And now that was the Army Corps of Engineers. So given that they have very little risk or very little concern about it being a risk or contamination, otherwise they would have done something more about it.
Thank you.
I know when a motion is tabled, it's no further discussion, but since we don't seem to be following Robert's Rules of Order, I've got some more questions. In here, it says that the borough officials have reviewed all the environmental analysis of Crab Island. Has anybody up here reviewed it? Because I never saw it, but we're agreeing that we saw it. Anybody up here see it? Oh, okay, that's interesting. You're not voting, Glenn. You know, I'm asking the people that are going to vote on this, did they actually see this? I mean, we cannot eat the fish that we pull out of that river, but you're telling me that Crab Island is not contaminated. I don't know whether it's contaminated or not. I just don't think that it's good for the residents of this town to take on. Could it be? Couldn't it be? We can do what you say, put it there and post it, but we don't own it. That can still be done. We do not have to take possession of a pig in a poke that we're really not sure of because nobody can stand on there without sinking. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. If we can't eat fish out of that river because of contamination, don't tell me there isn't contamination on Crab Island. But again, nobody can get on it. I understand that. Why do we need to take possession? It can remain exactly the way it is. We can post it just the way you said, and somebody else will be paying taxes on it. And God forbid something happen, we won't be responsible.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? All right. So 9/8, we'll coordinate with you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Next item. Okay. I want to make the following appointments for the Office of Emergency Management because their term expires before the next meeting. So they're all 3-year terms. For coordinator, the reappointment of Chris Bardsley. For the deputy coordinator, Chief Dan Plumacher. For the deputy coordinator, Vincent Buffalino. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept the nominations?
Second,
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Parisi.
yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
And on the shade tree, there's oh, you have that? Okay.
Is Shade Tree yours or
What's that?
is Shade Tree the mayor's or is it the council's?
Mayor's.
Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, so it's me. Okay. There's an unexpired term, and I will appoint Brian McHugh to that unexpired term on the Shade Tree
I
Committee.
make a motion to accept Brian McHugh on Shade Tree.
Second,
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Parisi.
yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Introduction of the following ordinance, ordinance 23-25, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance number 2-24, fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2023 to 2027.
Councilwoman Novak?
Okay, I got it.
Yep.
These are not new positions, right?
What?
These are just the current positions that are.
That's still changing, the supervisor benefits.
Reclassifying the title.
Yes.
No new hire.
So you want to introduce it, Mary? You're third on admin and finance.
Okay, I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law for its meetings to be held on
September 8th.
September 8th.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Khaleesi.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on all consent agenda items. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, Sayreville resident. I see on the bill list this month, $45,000 for JCP&L. I've been talking about this for a year. There are more lights out now than there were a year ago. Tina Early was supposed to come in 2 or 3 times. I don't know if she's even our liaison anymore. Councilwoman Novak asked about, can we withhold bills because streetlights are out? We know of 2 serious accidents, one on Main Street and another one in town, because of a street light being out. What are we doing to get the lights on? That's primary. And secondarily, why do we continue to pay for a service that we're not getting? The administrator signs a voucher that says he certifies under oath that we've received these services that we haven't received. So I'd please like an answer to that question. The other thing I see, I'm always happy to see when we get a grant. I had to laugh though, the open space stewardship grant. That's wonderful, $1,500 from Anjek. That's great. You can't make this up though. But when I read it, I thought open space. Last meeting, we had an opportunity to have a ballot question to determine if the people would rather have 250 apartments or open space behind Kennedy Park. And you know what happened? By a 4-2 vote with Council President Roberts and John Zabrowski and my friend Stosh and Mike Voting no, you decline to give the public that right to vote on open space. You got an appraisal saying that property is worth $700,000. Our own tax assessor says that property is worth $1.2 million. Speaking of laughing, the mayor says that property is worth $20 million is what you said at the last meeting, Mayor. 40 acres behind Kennedy Park, which is mostly wetlands, is worth $20 million. You really can't make this stuff up. But I just want to talk, when we talk about open space, we're building right now 800 apartments. Right now, we're building 800 apartments and condos. Another 2,000 apartments will go into the point. That's the plan. A lot of people don't know that. 2,000 apartments. 2,000 more apartments on top of the 800 we're building now, and on top of what the new plan calls for, are being built right now. You had the opportunity to do something good, something that people wanted, something that really had to do with preserving open space. And four of you, the O'Brien-Roberts team, four of you said no. You're not going to let the public decide on open space. But congratulations on the $1,500 grant. I'm familiar with ANJEC. They're a great group. I know this money could be for the community garden. I know they give you money for trails, for preserving habitats and bees and things like that, all those wonderful things. So, but the irony really is wonderful. We are getting a grant for open space stewardship. It's rich. It's rich. Thank you.
Okay, that being said, Jim, I understand that you're planning to move out of state. So your house it says for 110,000. Should I look for a listing where your house is up for 110,000? That's on your tax roll.
On my tax, no, because there's an equalization formula. I explained that last week. If you take the equalization formula, you will know what the value is. And anybody who's been mayor for 22 years ought to know how equalization formula works.
Jim,
that property
are
is
you selling it for
$110,000?
$110,000? Are you selling it for?
When you apply the equalization formula, that's when you
this
get the
isn't your time.
$1.2 million
As
that
always,
the
Jim,
tax assessor
thank you for the
says it is
enlightenment.
worth. I hope I've educated you on that subject.
Hopefully, for the man who sat on the planning board long enough, who built the most amount of residential houses in
That's a lie,
Sayreville.
Mayor. That's another
we
one of
are.
your lies.
Okay.
That is a lie.
Okay.
That is a lie.
Well, you'll have to prove it, but not tonight, Jim.
You can't prove it
Not
because
tonight,
that
Jim.
is a lie.
Okay. Jim,
You're a liar,
always
Mayor.
a pleasure, Jim. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on the agenda? This is entertaining tonight, folks. Sorry you have to sit through it. For some people, it's not entertaining. There you go. Jim, see that? There was a reason you came tonight. That being said, are there any other questions on the resolutions? Being no other questions, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
I move the consent agenda items move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Persons Roberts.
No, we
Sorry,
didn't.
second, yeah.
There was.
We need a second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Roberts.
Before I vote, I do want to clear up something that was stated in the public. The statement was a choice between 250 apartments or open space. That's not true. It was the 250 apartments would not have been an or. It would have had to been placed somewhere else. So I just wanted to clarify that. And yes.
Khaleesi.
Yes.
Novak.
Except for 199, I'm going to be voting no on the bill list because I requested and I was told by the attorney that we could in fact not pay for the lights that weren't in. We passed a resolution. I believe it was unanimously passed that we give them 30 days to fix lights. And if not, we would start to deduct. And here we are months later We have a lot of lights that have gone beyond that 30 days and we're still paying for it. And quite frankly, JCP&L is not a friend to this town. Every time we turn around, I've got to reset every damn timer in my house because the lights are going out for one reason or another. Now, I'm not talking about accidents, but sometimes you go on to Jersey Central's thing and they go, oh yeah, they're out. We're still sending a crew out there. We have no idea why. So the lights are such a simple thing. And if they can't take care of the lights, then we voted to start deducting and we're still not doing it. So I'm voting no on the bill list because of that. Everything else, yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Correspondence.
Motion to accept the correspondent that's listed.
Motion,
Is there a second? Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts, Parisi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
Reports.
Correspondence as listed.
We just did that.
Okay. Mayor and council reports, administration and finance, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, pretty much with Public Works, I'd like to say that
No, this is admin and finance, Mayor.
The tax bills did go out. Everybody should have received them. If they didn't, please notify the tax office. You have until the 29th as opposed to the 10th, which once it's passed, to pay your taxes. But please remember, if you pay on the 30th, you are going to pay interest going back all the way to the 1st of August. So please pay your taxes. Other than that, progress, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, Mary, why don't you do Public Works while you're.
Public Works, we're doing, right now, there's a combination of everything, and believe it or not, we've already started to work on preparing for the winter. I got my first winter forecast from the state. Seems a little silly when it's 200 degrees outside sometimes, like it's far warm outside. But everything moves on regardless of anything that else is going on. Mayor, off of Public Works, I would just like to, I'd like to touch base on affordable housing again during my time here.
On the what?
Has anybody actually read this whole report? Because, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous if you look at the map of where they want to build these apartments. So much of it is non-buildable. So they are going to try to squeeze all of these buildings into a very tiny spaces, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 three-story buildings they're talking about building in Kennedy Park. And I know we're under the gun with affordable housing, but in this Ernston Road project, the most dangerous road in Middlesex County, and we're going to put all of these apartment complexes. We're going to remove the mini mall. And we're going to build all of these apartment complexes. And there are other ways. The attorney at the last meeting admitted that there's a possibility of paying Winding Woods, doing a subsidy, that they will turn some of their apartments into affordable housing, so we won't have to do any more construction. And I noticed, I was really surprised at this, I was happy to hear it, but on our we just, said received and filed on all of these things. We got a notice of a public hearing to be held in the township of Woodbridge. And they're going to discuss affordable housing requirements as it relates to payment in lieu of construction. If other towns are doing this, I just don't understand why we jump to something like this. There are other ways.
Pilot or which
I'm
part?
talking about the affordable housing, not pilots. I mean, pilots are, every pilot should be taken individually. I am not, against pilots or for them. I think everything has I voted no on some, I voted yes on some. They all have, but this whole report, and I know some of it is crap. I know they have no intentions of taking down the transportation complex, but it's in here. Now, we couldn't have a referendum because, somebody might say that, then we're going to be sued and everything else. We've got things in here we know we have no intentions of doing, and yet we couldn't have a referendum. And I know it was non-binding, but that's the only way half of the people in this town really get to know it. Because as you rightly said, Kennedy, people don't come to meetings. People aren't watching us on Zoom, particularly since they can't comment anymore. But putting it on a ballot would have been a way for at least the people to express it and at least let them know what's going on. Unless you know that everything that's going on down there in Melrose right now, there was so much going on, but it was approved years ago, but they never saw it and they never questioned it until they actually started to build over there. So putting it on a referendum, and I know it didn't pass, but this whole thing, why didn't we look at other alternatives? There are other alternatives. We passed an ordinance. Mayor, you were still, you were in your previous administration, you were here, that we actually could charge a developer that was coming in and building like the pilots, the warehouses. They have to pay a fee that we get to keep and use to offset affordable housing. So we have money there to offset affordable housing, but we didn't look into any of it at all.
Can I please explain? Because what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but it's actually not accurate. That money that Woodbridge is talking about is similar to the development fee. That's what you're talking about, is development fee, that anyone who's building, constructing, whether it's residential or commercial within the municipality, has to pay a development fee if they are not producing affordable housing. That gives us our Affordable Housing Trust Fund that we're able to use when we need to meet our compliance requirements. Our compliance requirements means we have to build, means we have to have these units, whether it's brick and mortar, whether we can, whether it is extension of controls or whether it is bonus credits that we can get versus for certain types of, but we can't, that just because they pay it, that doesn't mean that counts as a unit. All that means is that we get money so that we can now build that unit. When it comes down to our compliance for third round, fourth round, or whatever it may be, we still have to show that we're building these number of units and we're providing for the exact number of units that our requirement is per the state, in which we agreed to on a settlement in this case, because it was a whole new mechanism that we went through earlier.
That's the question at the last meeting, and he said that we could do it. It might be cost prohibitive, but we didn't even look into doing it.
No, I'm saying extension is one of the mechanisms, but it's still, that is now a unit that is now being, is being accounted for. But that, we still have to have a total number accounted for when it comes to the end of the day. Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but it sounded like you were saying if we make them pay to us,
No,
satisfies
I'm
it.
saying
That just gives us money to be able to.
we have that money in a trust
Right.
fund that we can use to offset affordable housing, whether we build it ourselves
Okay,
like we
okay.
did with the,
I misunderstood
there
because when you're saying
no.
offset, that's why I thought you meant like
No,
now we
I'm
don't have to
sorry.
build it. That's why, that's
They-
how I heard it. And so
they
that's what I wanted
pay
to
it for that,
clarify.
and then we can use the funds. And to the
Right.
best of my knowledge, we haven't used any of those funds so far. So there are other alternatives. They told us, the professionals that were here at the last meeting, they told us that they could do it, but it might be cost prohibitive, but we didn't even look into it.
We're not building anything yet, Mary.
What, huh?
We're
I'm
not
sorry.
building anything yet. My wife
I
calls.
realized that. I'm doing that a lot lately, sorry. No, it's just that we told we couldn't have the referendum because it might be a problem with the affordable housing. Some developer could sue us.
Mary,
Because we
it was
looked at
the
something else.
advice of our attorney that yes, it would be a problem and that we need to move forward and that this is a 10-year plan subject to adjustments.
But if it's subject to adjustments, couldn't we have the
Mary-
referendum? We were told the referendum would cause builders to sue us.
To be honest, some of what you're saying tonight can also, it was the timing of it. This has already been adopted by the planning board and submitting to the program. So now we're required to go forward with this plan until we get our judgment of repose and compliance from the court, which is expected to be in December. After that time, if we need to amend it, we need to change it, the borough is allowed to do so. But since we were required based on the procedures to adopt a plan by June 30th. That plan was adopted by the planning board and submitted to the program. Now we have to support that plan so that we can get our judgment to protect us against builders remedy lawsuits. And then after at that time, if we want to amend it or change it, we can do so. But doing so beforehand jeopardizes our ability to get that right and opens us up for potential builders remedy lawsuits. And that's my concern. And that was it had nothing to do with any particular site, had nothing to do with it. It was amending, trying to almost attack our own plan that has already been adopted by the planning board, that's already been submitted to the program for compliance that we now have to defend. And so coming out or putting a referendum out against that undermines our own stance. that was my concern and that was my recommendation, is not to go forward with it
Did you-
for that purpose.
And it was brought to our attention at the special meeting we had, that your firm represented Mako as late as 3 years ago. Did you find, you said you had no knowledge of that?
Yes, I didn't at the time. I looked into it. A prior partner at my firm did represent Mako. It was actually 5 or 6 years ago, well before my even time at the firm. It was about a development proposal in the town. It resulted in a dispute. There was a settlement back in 2019, which it resolved and it was built. Based on, it was on for a different site, different issue. That being said, I advised the mayor, the administrator, and the clerk that moving forward, now that I have that knowledge, I wouldn't participate in anything in direct dealings with Mr. Mako or any of his properties. But with regard to generally affordable housing and compliance, that I could still represent the board, because I don't believe there's a direct conflict of interest based upon the facts presented. However, I am a member of the New Jersey Supreme Court Ethics Board. I take ethics very highly. So I voluntarily, for an abundance of caution, we were recusing myself on any specific dealings with that individual's properties.
Just one other question, and I'm not really accusing you of anything, but were you the attorney for the planning board when this was being,
No.
you were not?
I was
Okay.
attorney for the borough at that time.
Not-
That happened this year. That happened all in 2025. I was the planning board attorney in 2024.
In because you were the one that was giving us the end of the year, the mayor always invites anybody that was elected to go into meetings, and you were the one giving the report on affordable housing. That's why.
Right. No, I was representing the borough as special affordable housing council in 2024 while I was representing the planning board. However, when the plan was adopted, was drafted, the housing element and fair share plan, that actually just happened this past spring. That happened between March and June. And at that time, I had no involvement with the planning board.
Mayor?
That's it?
Yep.
Thank you, Mary. Councilman Khaleesi, if you would do planning and zoning and public safety, please.
For planning and zoning, it's progress. And then for public safety, the first report is that I have is from OEM Director Chris Bardsley, where he writes that Office of Emergency Management is beginning to work on the borough's hazardous mitigation plan that's required to be updated every 3 years by the state of New Jersey. So they will also be attending several training sessions over the next several months. And also beginning to prepare for the new school year by meeting with the Board of Ed and their procedures with the different scenarios that go on there. So next, I have a report from Police Chief Dan Plumacher regarding recent traffic enforcement initiatives. So on July 18th and August 8th, our department participated in the High Visibility Sustained Enforcement Grant Program. So that's in partnership with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office and the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. So the program focuses on proactive, highly visible patrols aimed at deterring impaired and dangerous driving. So the results of those enforcement efforts I got back, which was July 18th, our department had 144 motor vehicle stops. They issued 113 summonses and 66 warnings were given, and also 3 arrests on that one day, July 18th. Then the second day this happened on August 8th, our department did 179 stops for one day. 124 summonses were issued and 63 warnings were given. So these efforts were funded by the prosecutor's office, like I said, and also the Drunk Driving Enforcement Fund. So it allowed our PD to strengthen roadway safety without any additional costs locally from us. So the police department remains committed to these data-driven safety measures and to protecting both residents and visitors alike through continued proactive enforcement. Then from our Fire Chief, George Gavern, is progress. And before I conclude, I'd like to take a moment to remind our residents to stay alert and prepared, especially as we continue to monitor any potential impacts, especially this hurricane that's coming. So please keep an eye on the official borough social media channels and local news outlets for the most up-to-date information and guidance. So rest assured, our emergency management is closely coordinating with all the departments. So we have some of the finest first responders and dedicated Department of Public Works who stand ready to respond swiftly and effectively to any situation that may arise. So as always, your safety is our top priority, and we appreciate everyone's continued cooperation and vigilance. That's all I have.
Check on your neighbors.
Thank you,
Mayor, may I
Mike.
say one thing, because it has to do with public safety? Just really a question. Do you know, Glenn, probably I'd asked you, with our firemen and first aid and everything, we have little perks like dog licenses. We only have to pay the state fee, zoning permits, stuff like that are free to volunteers. I was wondering if that applied to auxiliaries, the police auxiliaries, since they're volunteer.
I'm not sure. I'll have to review the ordinance. I don't know if they're covered by it or not.
Because anything we could do for, because they do an awful lot of stuff and we can't live without them. So just if we looked into it, maybe some kind of perk and help them, with their enrollment. Thank you.
Working on it.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
thank you, Mary. Water and Sewer / Environmental, Councilman Sinarski.
Thank you, Mayor. The first one is on our water and sewer. I'm still recommended that we conserve water. Our water, when I first started doing this in March, our water, we did 130 million in March. Now we're at 216 million. And that's quite a significant increase. We always noted increases in the summer because everybody doing all the water and washing cars and everything else. But we haven't been getting that much rain that's soaking into the ground. So please conserve water. One of the funny things that I read on my report, that they have younger people or part-timers that are painting fire hydrants. Over 50 years ago, I painted them same fire hydrants in town. And now it's pretty cool to see the younger generation going out and working and painting the fire hydrants and everything else. And they got more paint on them sometime than they do on the fire hydrants, but it's pretty neat to see. The second thing is our community garden over across from St. Stan's. Take a ride over there. Go take a look. You're going to see some amazing things that the people have grown since it started in the beginning part of the year. There's big tomatoes. We have corn. They have cucumbers. They have radishes. They have zucchini. They have all kinds of vegetables. Take a ride over there and see it. It's just a nice thing to see. Volunteer, pull some weeds, hang out, talk to people. It's a nice thing to keep you busy. Other than that, that's the end of my report. Oh, I got one more thing. I've been getting a lot of calls about Journey Mill Road. Journey Mill Road Bridge seems like it's been under construction for 5 years. It's a county road. I addressed Jay Cornell from CME today. He got back to me and he gave me a great report. They moved the traffic to the other side of the road because the one side's almost done. And the estimated time of the complete bridge repair is around the second or third week of September. So thank you, Jay, for getting back to me. And I can relay this to a lot of the residents that have been asking me the questions about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things before I go into recreation. I know that there's been a lot of talk about the affordable housing units that we're mandated to have. And I just wanted to be clear, this body, this municipal body has relatively no power over that. Is that kind of correct over the number?
Well, Mayor, if I may, we did, that was one of the things we did fight on the first step of this process. We fought, went through the whole process and ended up entering into a settlement agreement with the Fair Share Housing Center, which was approved by the court. So the process, the number, mechanism, how it gets calculated is mandated by the state. However, we did our best to make that number as low as possible, working within the parameters that we were given.
Okay. So we are trying to reduce that number as much as this body possibly can. And the requirement comes from above this body, which is basically from the state, directing every municipality. And I've looked at other municipalities, including Lambertville, where I used to live and had a business there, and other places that have the same kinds of requirements, the same kinds of challenges, and it's all being blamed on this level of government, but it's not coming from us. We don't want it. It's coming from above. So the they that Councilwoman Novak was talking about is that part of government. We have very little control. Is that an
That's
accurate
fair,
statement,
yes.
a fair statement? We have also, as a body, put forth a resolution 2025-92 to oppose more of what the state government is trying to do to create more building in our communities. And that bill is to bypass, basically, this is the bill, just the way I read it was the developer could bypass our zoning laws to put in more mixed use in places where they want to put it. So they would bypass us, we would have no say in it, and the state would determine what and where things will be built. So we're all at this level fighting each one of these issues because it's really, we're getting the blame and they're continuing to push these things and happily letting us bear the brunt of this on our shoulders at the municipal level. So that is very frustrating to me, and I think everyone sitting here today. So I just wanted to make that clear. We have opposed that resolution. It's still up for a vote in the House. I think the Senate passed it.
I have to double check. I have.
It's coming close, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
coming close. So I just wanted to try to make that clear. We don't want it, and we all have to fight it. It can't just be us. It has to be everyone in this room has to be participating in this. So I just wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. And then now for the more fun part of my position is as the recreation liaison. So there are a lot of exciting fall activities coming up in August, September, and more in October. I left a couple of flyers in the back. They're not the official flyers. I put them together for anyone who wants to pick them up. That isn't necessarily on Facebook, just so that you have something to look at, some of the great things that we've got going on. We've got Cruising at Kennedy Park shows on Wednesday, August 20th at Kennedy Park. Grill and Game Day Barbecue. This will be the first of its kind. It's Friday, September 5th, 5 to 6:30 at Burke's Park. It will happen before the high school football team's home opener as the Bombers take on Linden. There will be food, family fun, football. It's a $15 per person fee, includes a meal, a soft drink, chips, and dessert. Pre-registration is required, and then you just go on to the football game. So I think that's going to be a great new event for our community. The Blast from the Past car show, Saturday, September 20th at Kennedy Park. Sayreville Day is September 21st, one of my favorite events of the year, next to St. Stan's Carnival. So that is September 21st is Sayreville Day at Kennedy Park, and community organizations and vendors are welcome. So register at sayreville.rec.com if you'd like to have a tent or a presence there. The Farmers Market continues on Thursdays from 12 to 6, right at the War Memorial Park over here. And there's also, we have the cultural arts team that's doing a great job. I have their flyer in the back. We've got a lot of concerts still coming up. You've already missed Groovin' to the 70s, back to the 80s, the Elvis Night, the Hawaiian Luau is being rescheduled. The Pride of Town Bon Jovi Night was already passed. We had our homegrown night just last week. And what's coming up, August 21st, Latin Rhythm Night, and the August 28th, Going Out with a Bang, Down the Shore Night, but that's not all because we've rescheduled the Hawaiian Night. So we've got a ton of things going on in town, a lot of positive things that we're doing as a community. And I hope we can continue the positive things as a community and really make change in the right direction. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Young lady, are you all here for the same issue? So I'm gonna give you my spot, so why don't you come up? All right? No, you come up. Sometimes these meetings can go long.
Like to speak for themselves or three.
If you,
Again-
if you would pull the mic down, and once
Going to.
again, if you'd state your name and address, please.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
My name's Kelly Last from 19 Yolner Street. Call in regards to the flooding. And I thank you, Ms. Novak, because going back a couple of years ago, we were here, you brought up the issue about the paved roads and the newly paved roads and the old ones, where the water's seeping under, where there's no sidewalks. Our road is terrible. Okay, we're in the two-family homes at the end, most of us. No, actually, all of us that are sitting here now. Some of the one-family homes, they flood as well. If you notice, or you know, we're familiar with Yolner Street, our driveways go under our home. Our street is belly up. It's not even a pitch. My father's worked in for Jersey Concrete and Clayton Concrete for over 60 years. And our road is terrible. I have over 1,000 pictures on my phone. This gentleman right here, his car was submerged in water. His driveway was filled to the top of his porch. This gentleman, his driveway was halfway filled with water. My landlord, $40,000 worth of a new sump pump. And in 4 to 6 months, not even 6 months, she bought 4 new hot water heaters and 3 new furnaces. They don't make hot water heaters like they used to, where you could relight the pilot light. And you could call, and it's a fact, police department's been to our house and the fire department to come have to turn off our gas because of the way the furnaces are made now.
Right.
Okay. It's been up for discussion, get an attorney, putting taxes in escrow. We were told multiple times we would have a engineer come down to a professional engineer and do our road. Now I know, and we all know, Scott Street is a county road, so theirs was done beautifully. Besides the facts, we have cars coming down our street when the road's closed off for emergencies. Like the other day, they were digging up in front of somebody's house because of their sewage, so they closed the road off. But with the last storm we had, I called and asked if they could put barriers up to divert the water, and I was told it was an emergency. Our house flooded, okay? Again, 2 new hot water heaters, 2 new furnaces, 4 feet of water. His car was wrecked. Everything, two motorcycles in his garage. We have to put boards up in front of our driveways. The water comes up 3/4 of the way on our grass. And not to say for the zoning board, okay? I know Andy was in charge of the zoning board. I don't know who it is now. I don't care. I don't want to know. Because it's only going to start an argument, because I've been making this an issue and nobody wants to listen or believe me. The home next to me, there's a woman, she's a realtor, and I don't care if she's on Zoom and hears me right now. And please excuse me for saying this. As my landlord went away to mourn the death of her husband, this woman moved in her home, cut down her fence that was on the line, the property line, put another fence up and said, I put it on the property line. Don't you like it? Who cuts down a fence without asking the neighbors and letting them know they're going to put up a fence? Come home, there's this big ass 6-8 foot white thing around our house. You don't do like things like that. Now all her white rocks, her beautiful landscaping's coming under. I didn't even bring them with me. All the bills, bringing my little dog to the Sayreville vet, which they can confirm. Her stomach being filled with all these little white things she's chewing. Her stomach's filled with stuff, okay? So now I should give her the bills, but she's not going to pay. Now we have realtors, she's a realtor, walking our streets, handing out gifts, taking advantage of the elderly people that want that to be their forever home, and trying to get them to sell their houses. Now you want to tell me that's not my neighbor? I'll say it to her face. She could be on Zoom. I don't care, Anna. If you're on Zoom, hear me out. Leave everybody on the street alone. But the flooding is the biggest thing. We have been promised, and we all walked in to the office the one day, and we were told to our faces, I don't know why your street wasn't done. You're on the list. You were on the list for February. Then they put us off when they had PSC&G come out to do the gas lines across our roads. They didn't do our road. You know what they did? Blacktop, right straight down the side of our street. Something needs to be done with Yonner Street because they're gonna fix Main Street because you're allowing all this industrial building stuff going up, all these townhouses and everything. We were told drainage can't be put in the middle of the road. Not for nothing, but the gentleman that sat in that seat 3 years ago, that's empty now, told me when he came down to the street, and Craig was great. He was down there. As soon as we left, he was right down there. He cleaned those drains out for the township. He from one end. Well, I know those tubes ain't fit from one end to the other because we only have, two drainage, things at the top of our street, manhole thing? Okay, so we got two at the top and two at the very bottom. Well, I don't even get down there. It just goes right off the street. And it don't even meet all, or don't even go all the way down the street. Now, the last storm we had, and it's all on video. I have over 1,000 pictures, 3,000 pictures actually. Craig went with me. And I walked down into the woods myself. After the water department truck was down there and the fire department truck was down there, the chief, fire chief, whatever. As soon as I started walking down the street, they were out of there. You know who cleans the gutters on my street? Me. I videotape myself cleaning the gutters all the time so there's somewhere for the water to drain. Now, my father taught me a trick to see the pitch. Every road has a pitch. I've learned this, but not a hill. We have a hill in the middle of our street. So that's why the water is going down our driveways, into our garages, up on our lawns, okay? Our sidewalks go like this. Alongside here's the blacktop. Here's the sidewalk, or the curb, and the sidewalk. Sidewalks are going like this, and it leads me to saying to what she said. If it's not done right, everything's just, and cracking. Now, I have pictures from the last meeting we were here till now to show you how terribly messed up our street is, so cracked. I could go down there with my fingers
How
and
long- how
peel
long
up
ago-
the blacktop.
What was the last time you were here, ma'am?
2 years ago, two and a
Okay.
half years ago, maybe,
Okay,
if that, yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, the
And she
borough,
was very much of help because she did speak up and say, well, I also have a question in regards to the roads that have been freshly tarred
Okay.
or blacktopped. And then the ones that haven't been done yet, the water is getting underneath. Now, we have kids that have a bus stop at that one corner that have to walk up on a hill.
I want to start
well,
answering
yeah,
some
sure.
of, I want to start answering some of your concerns.
Go ahead.
So the business administrator just finished a meeting with the borough engineer about your
The borough
street.
engineer, how professional is he? Because you want to know something? The gentleman that
Wait,
sat in that seat,
wait.
Mr. Gavin, wait a minute, if you don't mind. He had said to me, it would be cheaper to fill in our driveway, her driveway, and his driveway. It would be cheaper to do that and give us a basement than it would to repave that road and do it the right way.
Okay.
Is that professional?
Sure.
When you buy, no, it's not.
No,
When
wait,
you
wait.
buy a two-family house and you want a driveway and a garage and it goes under your house, that's unprofessional. I'm sorry. And then you got people living next to you that have a driveway, they filled it in, but now they're illegally having people live in their basement. And I keep hearing from Andy, well, was hearing from Andy, that that's not true. It could be used for recreational use only. And I got them lying twice. And the cops went to their house when they were apparently broken into and stole one Coach bag out of one specific closet and keys to what looks like a Ferrari, but it's just a Trans Am car, okay? And they keep telling you there's nobody living down there. It's recreational use only. And one more subject before I'll let you go, okay? Grandfathered in. Almost everybody here has owned their homes since these houses were bought. They're forever homes. So they're grandfathered in. They have sump pumps in their basements, and I'm sure you're all
Right.
very well aware of it, if you're very well aware of Yulner Street, okay? So, with that said, buy a house today. What do you gotta do? If your sump pump's not working, you gotta get permits. You gotta pay thousands of dollars to have your pump system redone and everything, okay? Well, their sump pump ran through their yard towards our house, under their front gate. Their white pretty rocks are turning brown, oily, mucky, disgusting, and that shit's running in my yard. And I say my yard because I live with my aunt and I'm a potential buyer of her home one of these days. Okay?
So,
So with that said, I'll let the next
no,
person
stay
come up,
there,
but you
stay,
can
no,
address.
stay there,
Okay,
young
go
lady.
ahead.
So the business administrator and the engineer coincidentally recently had a meeting about your street. So let me turn it over to the engineer and to the business administrator.
Is that anybody
Uh,
named Glenn or Chuck?
I beg your pardon, dear?
Glenn or Chuck?
I'm
'Cause I
Glenn.
was, what's that?
I'm Glenn.
Okay, well, nice to meet you, Glenn, because I was
Yeah.
told to call you.
And yeah, and I've actually have been having an ongoing discussion with Ms. Wexler from your community down there. The long and the short is, and Jay can give you infinitely more details, there's a couple of things that are wrong with the way Ulner Street is constructed. But there's peripheral aspects as well. So South Amboy and the county have not been on top of keeping their storm water systems cleared out. And we addressed that with both of those entities in an attempt to give you
Yeah,
some.
they have a marble. If you take a marble and put it on top of the street, it has a slight pitch. My father taught me that.
Understood.
trick.
And
So
if
it comes
they-
right
and if
down
their
our street. They go
stormwater-
nowhere near Scott
If
Street.
their stormwater inlets upstream of you are not cleaned out, that water's going to look for someplace else and it's going to make a beeline for Ulner Street. So we did reach out to South Amboy and the county in an effort to get that rectified. We've also looked at the ditch at the end of your street and I don't know when the last time
No, it
was.
has not been cleaned out.
Not this year. I know we did it last year. I
No,
don't
you
know.
did not.
No, I could tell you we did because I was out.
have pictures of everything that's still
Well,
down
then
there.
I was
Pieces of
hallucinating when I was
road,
standing out there with the
cinder
crew, but
block.
nonetheless,
They did go down there with the hoses and they opened up the
We
drains and
will-
they sucked stuff
we
out, but
will
they didn't go
address-
into the woods. They cut down a tree. And what Greg had told me, if that's his name that was sitting there, I was told there is a problem. That water will drain a little bit, but the only problem is we got to figure out what to do with the truck, with the tree in the drain. It wasn't draining properly, okay? So unless you got the tree roots that were growing in there, that I walked down there with my father at 80 years old to get in there and look and take pictures, then tell me you did that. Did you do that? Because I'll go
sent-
back down there and take more pictures.
we sent a crew out there with a backhoe last year and cleaned out that ditch. We absolutely did that and we will repeat
But
that
you
now.
didn't get into the cement barrel and clean all of that
I'm
out.
getting to the last part of my
Okay.
explanation, which
Okay.
is that the pipe underneath your roadway
Right?
is not enough to accommodate all of the volume.
Okay.
I've had that discussion with Jay. We're beginning to look at that. It's about $1 million fix and we're starting to plan for that.
Absolutely. So can I make a suggestion? On the way here, well, when we were talking, you were talking about streetlights, on the way home the last time, there was 11 streetlights. I counted them on the way home. And tonight I'm going to count them again because I just went to Artie's the other day and there was still 11 lights out. But now I lost my concentration. It's just, I just got to tell you, it's very frustrating on their part. And when we call our homeowners and our renters insurance, and they aren't covering this because they're saying it's an act of nature, I'm sorry, it's not. It's an act of Sayreville. Sayreville's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Sorry, it's been over 4 years, okay? If the correct people were down there doing what they should have been doing, and I'm sorry because I'm getting flustered now, okay? Because I have to see what she's going through all the time. And now worrying about like the storm he's talking about us preparing for, which I know is going to be further south. Hopefully it stays there, okay? But what all these women have to go through. And then this goes back to 1975. Do you want to Google that or you already know about that article in the newspaper, Sayreville, how Sayreville made it in the paper?
I was in high school then.
Okay, in 1970,
It was 1964.
1964 and 1975. Ulner Street was in the newspaper for the flooding, okay? When her parents bought her home, they were like, what the hell are these boards doing up here with these cinder blocks? They go out on their honeymoon, they take the boards down, they take the bricks down. Well, they get a phone call, their house is flooded. How would you like that? My next door neighbor that bought the house on the other side, not the realtor, because I don't care about her, and I say it to her face all the time, to come in my yard and pick up her white rocks, which she still hasn't done, because she claims I should come down to the borough and look at the property line that's hers. 3 inches? No. We're talking about 10 of my feet into my yard. I feel wet, mushy, swampy water that's coming from her pump because she's got it ran down to the end of her fence and run under the ground. So it pumps out into her grass instead of the road, and hopefully not to the sewage, because isn't that illegal? Absolutely. See, I learned a lot living here for 30 years myself. Okay, I'm not just a renter. I'm her niece. I want to buy that house. But you have other people that come down there and they're not told they're in a flood zone. And if they're considered a flood zone, their house depreciate how many thousands of dollars now? You're talking about this man thought, oh, $106,000, this or that. Are you a realtor now? Because I could tell you right now, she could easily get $650,000 for her house, but you consider that a flood zone and she ain't getting nothing but maybe $375. My neighbor next door moved in, same as the other woman on the other side, because her brother outbeat them by $25,000, lent them the money. He would have never moved in. He was actually supposed to be here tonight, had to go to the airport. He would have never moved in. He has made the comment multiple times. The last storm we had, he came running to my house because it was late at night, knowing that she was in bed and I was away, and put her boards up and her bricks, and by then it was too late. His wife was screaming for him outside. You can hear on the cameras. Go help Sharon. Go help Sharon. And poor Steve didn't even know it was happening either, because it was a last minute, late at night thing. Now you got people's garbage cans. His mother's car was wrecked in the front. Somebody had garbage sitting out on the curb. It wasn't even a garbage den. A big bag with all this electrical equipment and shit. They ripped the whole front end of his mother's car off. His car was ruined. His motorcycles. What more do you want? When is our road getting done? When is a professional engineer coming on our street? Tell me the name of the company, because I want to talk.
This is Jay Cornell. He is the borough engineer. He is a professional engineer and has been the borough engineer for 30 years. So that being said, it
Well, you
is.
told me to talk to you, but now I'll
No,
talk
that's
to whoever you
fine.
want. I wanted to thank her because
Okay.
it
So,
was
Jay,
her at first that brought
Miss-
it to the attention
Miss-
of this council years
Miss-
ago.
Miss-
Miss Last,
So
yes.
we will set it up where we will either come down to your neighborhood or we can come here and go over what's going on, whichever way
I
is.
prefer it on the
is-
street. I think everybody prefer to walk up and down the street so you can all see what's going on.
Okay, so we'll set it up
I mean,
and the.
and the
Ma'am,
sinkholes,
ma'am,
I'll show you pictures.
Ma'am,
They're deeper than
ma'am,
me.
ma'am,
Go ahead.
we'll set it up and our professionals will come down.
You're
All right, and-
professionals. You're saying you're professionals though.
Well,
I'm not, like, we're
I don't
talking
have.
county on
Ma'am,
Scott Street, and we're talking
Ma'am,
about
you gotta
Sayreville.
stop. I understand your
Your
frustration,
fixture
but I'm
did
trying to
nothing.
make progress here.
No, we're not,
And
because you want to do it the Sayreville way, which was already done
it's the only thing
Sayreville
I
way,
can do
and it
with
was done the
taxpayer
shit
money.
way.
Ma'am,
Okay,
with
I'm
that-
talking about the right way, which is Scott
Ma'am.
Street that has
All
that
right.
slight
you.
little pitch.
thank you, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
I have
hope
to
it
do it
sinks
the
in.
way that
I
the
hope
law
it sinks in
says
because
I
Miss
have to do
Novak
it.
hit it on the nose years ago
Okay.
that our street is screwed up.
Okay. Is there anybody else from the street who would like to come up? Let's get the ladies first. No, your aunt behind you has her hand up. So come on up there. It's okay. Don't put the timer.
And if she starts coming, I am gonna go crying. I am gonna go walk up there with her.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
If you would state your name and address,
My name
please.
is Sharon Atamanti.
Sharon, if you could lift the mic up a little closer to you, dear.
My name is Sharon Atamanti. I'm at 19 Ulliner Street, second floor. I just want to thank, first of all, the firemen and the policemen who have come to my establishment many times during the floods to shut off the water, to shut off the electric, so everybody else doesn't get burned down. And they have come Johnny on the spot, wonderful. So I would like to thank them for that because it's been great. I just got a few things to ask. Also, one of the things that I was peeved about the last time I got my tax bill, and I think I verified it with Steve, that he got his the same way. It was on a postcard and it had everyone's name on it, had all of their essential information on it, how much you paid for it, the yardage of a yard, our name, our ad, everything was right out in the open. The mailman hands it to me. Here you go. He looked at it, I'm sure everybody else is as well. So I wanted to know if they could put it in like a private envelope or something. It just seemed odd that it comes out in a postcard for everyone to read, to write down.
Wait, wait,
They broke
that's,
the privacy.
wait, what? No, I can't have an open thing. Young lady, I brought you in because you've been very patient waiting here.
Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, Jessica.
That's an assessment card that is sent.
Everybody gets it in the borough. Everybody in the borough gets the same
Right.
thing.
So everyone knows everyone's business. I mean, like I said, it
It's
shows
public record.
everything.
It's public record.
Yeah, so they can, so if any get out of hand to someone who just wants to come and see about it and then come and do
They
something
can come
to
right
you.
down to the second floor and look it up and request it. It's online.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's not in their hands. And how many people would go down there and look actually?
I don't know.
Uh,
But it's,
no,
the thing is, it's a public document. It's
All right,
open to
why is it some-
everybody.
Why is it sometime so the assessment you get is the same that the tax bill that you get? Is that correct? I don't know.
No. Jessica, if you help this young lady.
It's two separate documents. The card, the postcard that you get is an assessment card. that
With all the
tells-
information on it,
With all the
correct?
information that tells you your taxes.
Correct.
You get your tax bill, which is a separate, which comes in an envelope,
Right, but it has the same information on it,
basically.
basically.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
But one
so
comes from our tax
Nothing can be done.
assessor.
That's all I want to ask. Nothing can be done about it. It's going to continue coming in a postcard. Thank you.
Okay, young man.
There you go, guy.
Good job.
Good evening. My name is Dariusz Demianchuk from 23 Ulner Street. So adding to what Kelly said about the flooding, if we look at the layout of Ulner Street, it seems like Ulner Street is getting all the rainwater from all the surrounding streets, including Feltus Street from South Amboy. All the water comes down
Right.
and that street turns into river. Actually, last storm, it was like a tsunami hitting into the garage and flooding in over 3 feet high. And on that street, there is only 4 storm drains. Street over, which we know is county road, but there was a reason to install 11 storm drains on that street, which is not even getting as much water as Ulner Street, which has only 4 storm drains. Those 4 storm drains, even if they are clean, cannot take all that water that is coming down from all the surrounding streets there. So even if we replace that pipe, I believe we need to add more storm drains there because nothing's gonna change if we just replace the pipe.
No,
So-
I think the engineer and the business administrator have established that the pipe that carries away the storm sewer, the storm water needs to be larger. There are a couple of factors. That pipe has to be enlarged. The water coming to you from upstream out of South Amboy, is it coming in off of 9 and 35, Jay?
Yes.
Well, beg your pardon? Ridgeway, okay.
Yeah.
So it's coming in from outside of Sayreville, so it's a coordination with our neighboring town to find, it's not as simple a solution, but it's one we're in the process of beginning to address and to plan. It's not a quick process.
Understand that.
All right.
And we appreciate it, but we've been waiting for so long for results and haven't seen any, so.
Okay,
It's really getting old, replacing all the appliances in our basements, garages, and cleaning up all that mess every time. It's really getting frustrated and
okay.
getting old, but thank you.
All right. Young man in the T-shirt, you want to come up? If you'd say your name and street,
My name is
address.
James Screnzi. I live in Union Street and.
What number units?
19.
19.
I've been living there 49 years. And we've been having these floods since every 5 years we get them. They're getting worse and worse, the storms. And we had 2 recently, and we've been getting, that's when we had all this damage, replaced all the water heaters and everything else 2 years ago. We have to replace them again. They're getting worse and worse. We need something done now. Every time we come to the meeting, nobody cares. You say, you're going to send somebody to look at it, you're going to send somebody there, but nothing ever gets done. It's like we're in a zone where nobody wants to care about us. Nobody wants to do nothing for this street.
Well, it's starting to be
I
addressed.
mean, what if what about the water heaters there? Do we send the bill to you guys?
I beg your pardon?
Send the bill to you guys here, for the water heaters and.
Wait a minute, I can only have one talk at a time. No, you have to stop now. I'm going to ask you
Okay.
politely.
For your negligence that you don't do nothing for our streets, you should replace the water heaters and everything in the houses. Because we should get a lawyer and hold back our taxes till you do something. That'll be the only way and get on the news. The only way you guys will probably do anything for our street. Our street's a disaster. It haven't been paid once since I've been there. Not once. Now you got potholes, you got bumps, you got everything there. It's a disaster. The only thing they did was we had a sinkhole. They fixed a little sinkhole. They brought 4 or 5 trucks there, 5 guys, and they stood there 2 days doing nothing. And then finally they fixed a little sinkhole, but nobody ever pays our roads. Our roads weren't paid once. We pay our taxes just like everybody else, but yet nothing gets done to our street. It's getting ridiculous. We should get a lawyer to hold back our taxes for the whole street. Then probably you guys will do something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Young lady?
Thank you so much. My name is Mariana Leschuk, and I live at 12 Boner Street. We moved in there in 1975, and that's when we made the papers because my whole garage and everything flooded, and the fire department had to come and pump us out. So after that, I had a French drain put in and a couple other, some pumps in the back.
Right.
And it still happened. I got a call from work that my house is flooded. My car was in the garage, so I lost my car. I lost my furnaces, my hot water heaters, my washing machine, my dryers. I lost everything there. So now I have a permanent barrier at the top of the driveway. It looks like crap. It's an eyesore, but it's not being removed. And now we have like a sinkhole or something developing near the pole. There's the catch basin right there where the water's supposed to go in, and it's starting to sink there. And I figured, okay, next thing that's going to happen is the whole pole is just going to topple over,
Right.
and that'll be it.
You take a look at that.
I mentioned it to the construction company that was doing sinkhole, and they said they emailed somebody from Sayreville to take a look at it, but I haven't seen anybody yet. And I don't want that pole to come down and fall
Right.
on my car.
The
Plus,
BA said he'll have his people out tomorrow.
oh, sorry, and the lighting on our street is ridiculous. It's always so dark that if anybody puts on their porch light, then we have lights. We used to have a light on that pole. Now we don't have a light on that pole.
Okay.
And I want something to be fixed. I'm afraid that that pole is going to fall over.
We'll be looking at it tomorrow morning. Or in the morning? Okay,
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
okay. Is there anyone else from the neighborhood here? Yes, sir.
Hello, Mayor. Committee, how are you?
And
I'm
your name and address,
Steve
sir?
Barrera. I'm from 16 Yulna, Cruz Street, from my neighbors here. I just want to say that somebody said that Yulna is collecting water from a couple of streets above
Yes.
towards Route 9, correct? I did my own investigation on the last storm we had on a Thursday night. We are collecting, I believe, the water from 5 different streets, if not more. And just because of the way the Ridgeway Avenue is and Scott, the water has really nowhere to go but on Yulna. The second problem we have is at the end of the street, right before the water goes into the woods, there's a little bit of a slope on the street that goes up. So the water has to collect there. It doesn't really go into the woods until it reaches certain height. And the water coming down the street is tremendously to where it starts backtracking. And that's how we get flooded into our basements. When the water finally reaches whatever height it is at the end of the street, right before the woods, water gushes down the trees and our street gets cleared. I went to drive around Scott and the other street behind us for that Thursday night storm, and both of these streets were wet, yes, but none of them had any puddles. As soon as I drove back into Yulna, it looked like a small river coming down. So, you know, everything else got pretty much covered, but, you know, I'll appreciate if something can be done because there's a couple of problems there. We're collecting water from at least 5 different blocks. I know that for a fact. And the end of my street has that little slope that, you know, the water collects before it drains out, and that's how we get flooded. I had a couple
Hey,
of.
when you go down, you'll.
Mayor, the gentleman's correct. Everything he said is correct. There's problems upstream, there's problem on the street with inlets and capacity of storm sewer pipes, and there's problem downstream with the ditch, and also your garages are below grade. So all those things combined are the causes of the problem.
I honestly think we can take the water if the end of the street was leveled down to where the water has somewhere to go, but it doesn't. And, you know.
You'll
It'll be
take a
big-
look at it, Jay? Yeah, we'll have
But you
people.
understand, right? That the end of the street is a problem also right before it hits the woods. So, you know, I don't know. It's
All right, and
it's just very unfortunate.
you and Glenn will get together and schedule to coordinate with the residents that live down there, to go there and then advise the governing body when, what day and what time.
Just to give you an example, I've been there for 20 years. I've probably had 10, 12 times my basement flooded. These 2 storms that we had, I think I had 10 inches last time. I mean, on that Monday night, last storm we had, I had 20 to 25, and I got a
Your
couple
basements
$1,000.
are below the street grade?
What was that?
Your basements are below
Yes. Well,
street level?
So you understand, the problem is, once the water starts backing
Right,
up on the street,
right,
water has really nowhere to go. It covers the street where the cars drive.
right,
It rises over the sidewalks.
right.
A lot of us have basements down into, you know, a driveway down into our basements. Once that water reaches the sidewalk, it just gushes down into the basement. I have 2 pumps. There's not enough. Water's coming in so fast.
Jay, is that area, Scott Avenue was always prone to flooding. Is that a high water table to add insult to injury down there?
At the end of the street, you do have some wetlands. So there's a ditch that makes its way through South Amboy and then out toward the bay. So
Okay,
you do have water problems in the area, yes.
okay. We're trying to find a solution. First, you have to understand the cause and in order to design a solution.
Right.
So
I don't see any problem on Scott at all whatsoever. It's
it's
my
not
street.
emptying into the,
Oh,
the
Scott
runoff
goes
to
into
the
Main
bay?
Street. Scott goes into Main Street, straight down.
okay.
Yulna cuts.
Oh, you run parallel?
Yes, we run parallel, but my
Okay.
street it cuts into the woods, and that's where the
Okay.
problem is. It doesn't go all the way down to Main Street.
Okay,
All right?
okay, all right. I can't, I need you to come back up to the microphone there.
To and
Wants to tell you that there's five, he believes there's only five drainage inlets.
There's what?
Five drainage.
I believe in Sharon again. I believe in walking down Scott Avenue. They have 11 drainages on their street. So it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that carries the water down. They don't have a water problem.
Okay. Thank you, dear. Is there anybody else from the neighborhood that wishes to speak? Okay. With that, I thank you. We'll be out tomorrow and we'll start the process. So I thank you. I fit you in. So I'm now going to go back to the regular agenda and so that you guys can get home. I thank you for coming out. Okay. With that, I'll go to general discussions, administration and finance. Glenn?
Nope. Application for social affair permit received from American Legion Post 211 to serve beer and wine at their football tailgate party on September 14th from 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Any objections? Next item.
Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to TK1 Solutions LLC for software maintenance for 2025 to 2026 in an amount not to exceed $25,987.50.
Any objection?
Requests to travel received from President Park Fire Company to attend a company fundraiser at MJ's Restaurant in Matawan on August 20th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Any objection?
Authorization to award a contract to Motorola Solutions for Vesta support maintenance through NJ State Contract in an amount not to exceed $47,681.30.
Any objections? Next item.
Authorization to auction 2002 Subfen 95-foot mid-mount platform 1500 GPM pump 500-gallon fire truck on municibid.com.
Any objection?
That's it for me. It's on Glenn.
Business administrators.
Authorization to appoint William Alfrey and Derek Letts to laborer one in the Department of Public Works effective September 2nd, 2025.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to appoint Thomas Ryan and William Wern to laborer one in the Water and Sewer Department effective September 2nd, 2025.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to appoint Nicholas Jenkins as Recreation Leader in the Recreation Department effective September 2nd, 2025.
Any objection?
Just a question. Is this a new position, Glenn?
This is the position that was authorized by the council. It was offered to another party who ultimately declined the offer. This is the next person in the,
You know the next question. Are they a resident?
no.
It just seems.
Next item.
Authorization for an exemption of time off for Michael Bailey, Charles Wachasik, and Jonathan McGraw from September 2nd to 4th, 2025, to allow them to attend the final inspection on the new fire truck that was ordered in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Any objection? CFO's report? Danielle?
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Authorization to amend the 2025 budget for the following: DCA Resilient Communities Grant, Melrose Pump Station, $2,859,780.
Any questions? Anything else, Danielle? Thank you. Borough Engineers report?
Thank you, Mayor. One item, the improvements to Elizabeth Avenue project's been completed. We're recommending a resolution closing out the contract, approving a final change order, which will have a net reduction.
So there was a comment about this. Is it Elizabeth Avenue or Elizabeth Street?
Street signs say Elizabeth Street, tax records say Elizabeth Avenue, tax map says Elizabeth Avenue.
I lived on Elizabeth Street.
That's what the street signs say here.
We had it wrong all these years, Donna.
I think y'all had it wrong. I need to fix it.
Okay.
I make a motion that.
Okay. Borough Attorney's report.
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public portion, there's a 5-minute time limit. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, Parlin. There was no mention of it earlier. I assume we know that Councilman Junfor's murderer was sentenced to life today, and I hope that will bring some closure to the community, and maybe before the meeting adjourns, you'll observe a moment of silence or something. I saw on the communications agenda that the planning board is going to have a preliminary investigation to see if the 17 properties in the area around the mini mall that is slated to be affordable housing, both based on the vote that took place a couple weeks ago, is in need, or if that's an area in need for in need of redevelopment. And I saw some social media posts about eminent domain and how some equated it to socialism. And I just wanted to talk about that for a second. I think that it is very interesting that there are 12 thriving businesses on 17 different properties. Most of them are ethnic restaurants. In fact, a lot of them are minority restaurants and a hair salon, a big place, a few other things over there that are going to be discussed, 12 different businesses. And you voted on a plan that will put affordable housing where those 12 businesses are now. And Councilwoman Novak asked before, I see she has the plan. Did everybody actually read that entire plan? All how many pages? Okay. Well, anyway, and that makes it even more interesting that if you read that plan and you don't understand how this is going to take place, is it envisioned that we're going to get all these people from these 17 businesses in a room? We're going to talk nicely and we're going to get them to voluntarily close their businesses and sell or donate or do something with the property so that affordable housing can be built there? Because, you know, if we acquired them by eminent domain, that would be socialism, apparently. A great plan. I think the folks ought to know that. You have a plan that says where you have 12 businesses now, 17 different properties, and one, you know, that cell tower, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Glenn, you might know the answer to this. In my days in the legislature, I think that was part of national defense. I think it's located so close to the coast for a reason. I don't think it's a cell tower. And I learned this back in the 80s when they didn't have cell phones. So I think you got to look into that. But I think you have to be honest with the folks about what the plan is. Not just the 250 apartments on Mako's 40 acres behind Kennedy Park, but what you really plan on doing, how you're going to achieve this over at the mini mall. And by the way, the Mako approval was August of 2022. It wasn't 5 years ago. It was August of 2022 that Mako was in here to get that approval for the 1.7 million square feet of warehouses on Main Street. And it is interesting, and I'm not going to mention that $10,000 contribution again, but it is interesting that the lawyer for the firm that represented Mako told the council that they can't do a referendum concerning Mako's property is also the attorney who gave us the opinion that there was no conflict in doing that. I find that interesting. Stash, I forgot to wish you a happy birthday earlier. Happy birthday. Sorry, I missed that. At the last meeting, I talked about the DuPont settlement, the cleanup there, and I know that we hired our own PFAS attorney. I think people ought to know what we're doing there, what properties are impacted. Is the bus depot area impacted? Is the first aid squad area impacted? We ought to know. You have our own attorney, which I think is a good thing. I compliment the governing body for having our own attorney on that. But I think, you know, this is something that impacts, did these chemicals migrate off their property? Probably they did. And do they impact neighbors, including the first aid squad, including the post office, including where the bus depot is going to go? So I think it would be good if you gave a report on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Taylor McFarland. I'm from Keyport, New Jersey, 82 Atlantic Street. I'm also the Conservation Program Manager for the Sierra Club New Jersey chapter. Sierra Club is the oldest and largest environmental nonprofit in the nation with almost 4 million members nationwide. I'd like to lift up again that Williams Transco's Northeast Supply Enhancement Project is back. also known as Nessie. This is the fossil fuel compressor station proposed in Franklin, and then new pipeline that would cut through Old Bridge, Sayreville, South Amboy, run under the Raritan Bridge, and go to Long Island. None of the energy goes to New Jersey. Want to make that clear. New Jersey is not receiving any of this gas. We are just receiving the pipeline and the gas compressor station. Transco did construct a pipeline currently there about 50 years ago. It was put in before the Clean Water Act actually was passed. The Raritan Bay was in bad shape at the time, and by now, that original pipeline should be sequestered under the seafloor, along with a lot of the toxics that were released to this bay. The answer to someone raising the question of what difference it makes what difference does it make that we have now done a great deal to clean up the water in the Raritan Bay by closing off much of the toxic wastewater sources. We've been bathing along the beaches of the Bay Shore of Monmouth County and have a thriving shellfish industry. And this pipeline would basically reverse all of the work that we've been doing to really clean up the bay. I want you also to consider that New Jersey took in more than $50 billion from tourism in 2024. So again, I think we really need to consider the impacts of this pipeline and compressor station. I do know that in Franklin, where the compressor station is going to be built, Williams Transco is looking to use eminent domain to take over the land for their pipeline and compressor station. Penny's Pipeline tried to do this before, and this can happen also in Sayreville. So I want to ask the question, what is the public benefit of this project? If the energy is not going to New Jersey, what's the benefit of this project for the Sayreville residents, for the town? You're going to endure just the costs of all the construction. This is going to go under 35, the parkway, under the train tracks. Like, what is the public benefit to it? Opposition to this project is growing. Old Bridge opposes the project, passed a resolution to oppose this project. I sent you all the resolution. I will send it again to you. Continue coming to these council meetings, continue emailing you, continue calling you. Old Bridge, Middletown, Rumson, Keyport, Union Beach, Manawan, Highlands, Atlantic Highlands, Montgomery, Franklin, and South Brunswick have all passed this resolution to oppose Nessie. And I please ask you to consider putting this resolution on the agenda for the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Being no one else, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Yes.
Can I ask the attorney to clarify some things that were said and to straighten them out? Because I heard some
Sure.
things that were
Yeah, go ahead.
a little inaccurate. Would you?
You have to speak in the mic.
Okay, so can you clarify some of the things about eminent domain and how things are planned and the way it was
Well,
sounded?
We have to close the public
Oh,
portion.
I'm sorry.
I made the motion.
I'll second the motion to close the public.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
So just to clarify, some of the plans that were made, they're plans. There was also mention of I should just pull out my planning document. Sarah moved something to planning to determine if it qualified for a certain type of redesign. And that has to go through planning. It has to be a collaboration with the owners of the property. It isn't going to move forward in any way, shape, or form as today because the plan has to go through multiple stages. It has to be approved, and it may not look like what is envisioned today by a planner, but a collaboration of many different steps. Is that accurate?
Yes, I think I understand
Okay,
your
thank
question is that when it was brought up about the notices for the redevelopment and the studies being done by the planning board, do preliminary investigations, and there was actually a number of them. Some of them are properties that are in the housing element and fair share plan. Some of them are additional properties. Those are being done. Those were done at the request of Sarah during their investigation as to what areas they want to see the potential redevelopment. The request came to the Borough Council to adopt a resolution directing the planning board to conduct those investigations. And that's what these notices were of the public hearing on those investigations. All of those redevelopment investigations are non-condemnation. Condemnation is the same thing as eminent domain. So all of those resolutions pursuant to the redevelopment law, when you go through the process, you have to identify whether or not, right at the beginning of the process, whether they will be for condemnation or non-condemnation. All of those resolutions, all of the investigation studies, all are non-condemnation redevelopment investigations. So there is no eminent domain on any of these properties. That also being said, this is just determined whether or not they meet the criteria to be deemed an area in need of redevelopment. When that happens, if it does meet that criteria, it will come, a recommendation from the planning board will come back to this governing body. This governing body will then make a decision whether or not to deem the area and declare, actually is the terminology, the area in need of redevelopment, which then goes, if it does adopt that resolution, it goes to the DCA to get confirmation whether it does actually meet all the criteria. They look at everything, the planner's report, the planning board hearing, and the municipality's determination. It all looks in that, and it will be confirmed or not confirmed by letter from the DCA. Once that's done, then Sarah then starts the process of looking on what type of redevelopment plan. A redevelopment plan is essentially an overlay zone. There's nothing requiring the property owners to do anything in these instances, especially when in these type of cases where it's a bunch of properties owned by a number of different people. It's just a plan that puts forth what the borough would envision that development to be sometime in the future. So whether the property owner voluntarily wants to upgrade their property and wants to take advantage of that, they're allowed to do so and do so under the redevelopment plan and not obligated to do anything. If it's a thriving business, it remains a thriving business until they voluntarily want to do that, or they decide to sell it off to a developer who wants to comply or I shouldn't say comply, wants to develop in compliance with the redevelopment plan. But it's all voluntary. There's nothing being mandatory on any of the property owners. And when it comes to whether or not these are properties that are in the housing element redevelopment plan, that will be discussed when they start developing the redevelopment plan. If it gets through all that other process I explained, then they'll put an affordable housing requirement of development on those developments. But once again, it's not a requirement. So even though it's something in our plan, it's our affordable housing plan, it's something that's we're going to put into place to address our need, because we have to have zoning in place to address our need. How the law for affordable housing, and I apologize, Mayor, for going on a little bit, but I really think it's important to clarify. How it works for affordable housing is, and how it's supposed to work, is that the municipality has to zone for it. Whether it's an overlay zone, whether it's a redevelopment plan, however it may be, they have to put the zoning in place to allow it. We're not required or are empowered to make that individual property owner to actually develop it as affordable housing. We just put that opportunity. Once we do that, we have the zoning in place, then that's left to the property owners as to whether or not they actually develop it or not. Now, in the third round, it was a little different because we were before the courts, and the courts were basically making all municipalities to actually build brick and mortar if they didn't have a developer sitting right next to them saying, I'm going to build it. Right now, how it's working and how the legislature, the amended Fair Share Act works is it's once again supposed to be the original intent. We put the zoning in place, and then it's up to the market as to whether or not a developer comes in and actually builds those units. It's not a mandatory thing where if they don't get built, the municipality then has to go in and build them. That's how it's supposed to work. I can't guarantee it won't fall back to where the round 3 was, where they actually did make municipalities say, well, if you don't have a developer at your doorstep, you have to now bond and build it yourself, which was a little bit overstepping, but that's what the courts did.
So basically what you're saying is this means nothing, this plan.
It doesn't mean anything. It means we're compliant with the requirements of the Fair Share Act, showing that we're putting forth zoning out there that will allow for the development of the number of units that we have to provide for the 4th round.
But if the property owners say, no, I want to keep my business here, then we have to come up. I just don't understand. Why don't we make these determinations before we come up with a plan that's calling for all of these things on this property that's owned by somebody else? It's zoned by, they have businesses on here. I mean, if this is basically a joke, this plan is a joke.
The reason why it's like that in Sayreville versus, and because that's the other problem, is the state created a mechanism that's supposed to apply the same way to every municipality, but not every municipality is the same. On a town that has a ton of open space, which I'm not saying like reserved open space. I'm just saying unrestricted open space, a house that's on 20 acres. That's an easy situation where this could apply, where you say, all right, well, that property, if they ever want to develop it, can be developed that way. In a town like Sayreville, everything's pretty much developed. There's not a lot of just undeveloped open space where you can say, that's where we're going to put our affordable housing and zone it. So it has to be somewhere. So what happened is, what the planning board did is looked at the various sites. They had I'm assuming a subcommittee meeting, at times, and talked about it. And they had a presentation from our planner who put together this plan that said, these are some locations that potentially maybe need of redevelopment or potentially may redevelop them within the next 10 years. So let's look at these sites to maybe put the overlay zoning on top of, so that if they do develop it, hopefully they'll take advantage of that overlay zoning and develop it with the affordable housing that we need. But there's nothing, we're not going in there saying, Borough's gonna take the property and sell it to developer, and they're gonna develop it that way. That's not how the borough is proceeding. That's not how any of these documents are prepared, and that's not what the plan provides.
So basically, I mean, I know of at least three, this area and then the over there by the bus stop over there. Then we have to come up with another whole plan to meet these numbers if these people don't want to sell?
No, once we have the plan and the order in place, our job is done until we go to the round 5. The municipality has its order protecting it, unless we determine that another developer comes along and says, oh, I want to develop here, then maybe we want to amend our plan to say, you know what, that is a good idea. We'll let them develop it here and we'll take it away from somewhere else, so we don't have overdevelopment. But unless that happens, once we get our order and we have everything in place, the borough is done. It doesn't have to do anything else until the next round comes along. And when if they come and develop it, that's great. If they don't develop it, then we'll have to address it, because what's going to happen at the 5th round is the fair share is going to go, well, was that site actually a suitable site since no one came and developed it? So maybe you have to find a different site. You can't keep that overlay zoning there. You got to move it to someplace else, because since no one developed it in 10 years, that's no longer good. That would be one of the arguments we'd have to face in round 5. But that's how the system works.
So can I once again say from earlier today, at the municipal level, we have very little that we can do about it. It is all dictated from above this level, the state level, and those people who are legislating what we have to do here, which I personally disagree with. I don't think that affordable housing makes sense. We had said that at the last meeting, and I hope our resolution from our last meeting holds up and has some teeth somewhere, so that we can stop this continual overdevelopment all over our state, not just in Sayreville. It's everywhere. And I would like to see something that shows that it's actually solving any problem whatsoever, because I don't know if that's the case. I can't find anything substantial that says this is our problem and look how we're solving it. All I see is, this is what we have and this is how much more we want to build. So it's the problem we have, I guess. It is the problem we have, and we're going to have to find a way to solve it. And I don't think here at this body, we're going to be able to do it ourselves.
I think this whole plan is a joke. I'm not saying it's the town's fault, but it really is. We're just playing a shell game here. I mean, they're saying that we have to come up with a plan as to what we're going to do. And then at the same time, we're saying, well, this really isn't a plan. It's just to pacify the state. We said we're going to do this, we're going to do that. How can any of the residents in this town believe in any plan that we put forth when this is basically, you could wipe your butt with this? You know, this is nothing in here is serious, I believe, except for the 40 acres next to Kennedy Park. I think that will happen. Probably the only thing in this plan that will. And the planning board knows it.
And the final thing I'd like to clarify, if you would please, is describe what eminent domain is, because that was used as a suggestion for one of the pieces of land in town. And I want to be clear on what that is and why we typically do not move towards eminent domain. And I'm sure the young lady in the back corner understands.
Well, eminent domain is the state's taking of property against the property owner's will. in essence, it's when the property owner doesn't want to sell and the state needs the property for a reason. When I say the state, it means New Jersey, county, municipal, or even, they allow the New Jersey Transit Authority, any subdivision that, or subset of the state that's allowed to do so. And you can do it, but there's a two-step process. You have to go into court and you have to prove that you have a public purpose that supports the taking of real property. And then once you get that order and the court determines, yes, you're a public entity that's empowered to take property, and that you have a public purpose to support that taking, then you have to go and have a second hearing before the court with regard to determining the reasonable that market value of that property. And then the municipality or whoever, the state entity, has to pay that to the property owner to take it. But ultimately, you're taking their property without them wanting to sell it, because if they wanted to sell it, it'd be a negotiation because of either they didn't want to sell it, refused to sell it, or that property owner, you can't come to an agreement with the property owner, and the state's using their hammer to come down and saying, well, we're taking it no matter what. But it's a court process that takes multiple years. It can be very expensive. My firm does handle that for a number of municipalities. I don't do it personally, but my firm does. And, it can be up to, $100,000 to $200,000 in legal fees alone to get through it, if it's opposed and if it's, goes through the whole process, court systems.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.